Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Joe, and I'd like to talk to you today just a little bit about how people can brand you or how you brand yourself. I mean, branding could be a lot of different things, but I'm talking about your photography, your style, even your personality, really, because your personality is you. There's nobody else going to be like you. Sometimes I think, thank God, my God, I got problems. Anyways, I bring this up because when I started doing photography, and I'm just hoping this stuff helps people that were where I was back then, 30 years ago. I know so much has changed, and I'm not like trying to sound like a dad, okay? No, I'm just trying to save a little bit of time, and how things seem to unfold. When I got into photography, I did have a studio at first, and it was an old house, and used that for a little bit, and then I rented my first big space. I call it big space. It was probably 10 feet wide by, 24 deep, and it was just an office right on Main Street in North Canton, Ohio, big town in North Canton. Shout out to North Canton. And it was fun. I mean, it was really cool. And I had the basement where for my office, the shooting room was in a large picture window, but the problem is picture window faced west. And that can be challenging at times. So, but everybody, as I kept doing more and more work, obviously it seemed like back then, I don't know if it's the same now, that people got into weddings was like the first thing you can get into because you didn't need a studio. We didn't have digital back then, and there was nothing to like. I had Polaroid pictures, and I could put it back on my Hasselblad and show the people an image, and they're like, "This is really cool." So it seemed like that is all obviously has changed, but it seemed like weddings were the thing you got into because you could. You didn't need a whole lot of gear. Cameras, some flash units, a couple cameras for backup, but that was it. So the more weddings I did, I started doing a lot of other things as well. And this is, again, before social media. Social media now, I think, makes it even worse. You'll see why. It's because everybody in town said, oh, Joe's a phenomenal wedding photographer. He's a great wedding photographer. I ran into people in the store, and they would say, boy, I wish, wish I'd have known you back then when I got married, or blah, blah, blah. And then I'd see people out, and somebody had said they had their senior pictures taken by another studio. And I said, why didn't you call me? And they said, oh, you do those? I thought you just did wedding pictures. So unbeknownst to me, I was really known as a wedding photographer. And you know what? If that's all you do, that's great. But that's not all that I did. But it was, at the time, a lot of what I did. And that, again, is before social media. I'm talking about in the 90s. And I don't know now. I mean, I read different things, and people, if you're on LinkedIn, they say you could do all kinds of photography, but if you want to specialize in, say, headshots, don't post anything up there but headshots. Have another outlet for your other stuff, but don't do anything but what you really want to do. And I'm thinking, well, I get it. But I'm not saying this, I'm not boasting. I can excel at all photography. I love architecture. I do a lot of that. I do a lot of interior work. I do a lot for realtors. I do a lot of headshots. The funny thing is I do very little weddings anymore, and that is my choice, but that's beside the point. But I got branded, and I didn't like that. I don't like that now. I mean, I really don't like that now, because people will still, I shoot a lot of real estate, and people will think he just does real estate stuff. No, I don't. I do a lot of portraits. Matter of fact, that is my goal, is to do probably 80% portraits. That's a goal. Is that going to be achievable? I don't know. But it is a goal. And I think it's really something to have something to shoot for. But I guess I'm not sure how the branding thing works to stop it. How do you stop that? Other than putting a diverse amount of pictures up there. I mean, I know a guy, he's a friend of mine, and I can tell immediately when he posts something, it's his, because he's into motorcycles and old cars, old motorcycles. Everything pretty much he posts is something related to that. And I get that. That's on Instagram. So automatically people think, if I was going to look for a motorcycle photographer or somebody that has a lot of mood and depth to their stuff, he loves that. I would hire him because he sold me. So are you doing injustice to yourself by putting everything up there? And if you don't know what you really want to shoot or what you really want to do, then what do? I'm a jack of all photography, and it's like, maybe that hurts. Maybe that hurts me more than it does good. Help me out here. What do you do? What's your thought process on branding? What's your thought process on posting stuff on social media that's a wide variety of things? I mean, I would like to know what you guys think about that. How do you deal with that? Are you at that point in your career that you're dealing with that? And again, this doesn't have to just stay with photography. It could be with any professional career.